Thank you, George, and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm going to start off with a little question and answer period. How many of you know how this hospital was founded? Anybody know the story? A fresh group. About 50 years ago, TriCity Medical Center was actually founded by the three chambers of commerce. The business leaders came together and realized that if they were going to have thriving businesses, they needed a place for their employees to live, to work, and to have health care. They didn't have health care. Since the beginning, this has been a community project. And today, it's very much still a community project, especially with the involvement of the foundation. The foundation is an independent 501c3, and I think we have a slide up there, that was established just a few years after the hospital itself. Today, we have an independent board of directors, 30 board members, that includes bank presidents, CEOs of development companies. We have our retired manager from the city of Vista who is on our board. You have Don Cunine, who just spoke to you, who's also on our board. We have CEOs from the chambers of commerce, and we have city council people. The intent is this is about leadership. Tonight you've heard a bit of leadership of people who've given a part of their professional life to help the entire community, physicians, council, and also our foundation volunteers. So I'd like to tell you more what's going on with the foundation today. One thing we realize, more than 80% of the hospitals across the country are dependent on philanthropy for innovation and for capital investments. We talked a little bit with the physician about getting a little older. Well, we have a grand old dame who's about 50 years old that hasn't been reinvested in a long time. We also talked a lot about legacies. And so today we're going to talk about the legacy that the foundation is hoping to build for the community. When we talk about investing, hospitals usually run on about a 5% margin, not much, which means for them to get a $1 million widget, a piece of equipment, a $1 million program, they have to increase revenues by $20 million. The simple math is it takes about 8 to 10% of a hospital's revenue to stay current, not cutting edge, not over the top, just current. The hospital makes about 5%, so every year there's a progressive shortfall that becomes bigger and bigger. So we're going to help address that to an extent. We also know that in our area, some of us, not in this room, but in other areas of the community, some of us are aging. And that's putting more pressure on our healthcare system, more demand for healthcare, and we're not ready for it. So we're going to have to do something to make those services available. We also know that Sandag is telling us that this area is going to grow disproportionately. Most of the growth projected in San Diego County is Vista and Oceanside. And up here on the slide, you can see that they're telling they expect a 24% increase in population in just Vista, Oceanside, and Carlsbad by the year 2030. So if you think we're getting a little crowded now and you think that wait lines in the emergency room are getting longer, unless we take it on, we're not going to improve that. Does that seem unreasonable? Some of the key initiatives that the foundation has done just recently. You heard about the Da Vinci robot, which George was nice enough to bring his daughter in just to prove our point. I think that was charming. The surgery that she had is one that usually takes 5 to 6 weeks to recover. And she was on her feet in 3 days? So, and back to work in 2 weeks. An astonishing change in the way we deal with healthcare. We also have just received the Mazor Renaissance. I had to look because I wasn't sure if that was actually on the slide yet. It was on the loading docks yesterday. We also just received the Mazor Renaissance robot. That's a robotic surgical system that's specific for back and spine surgeries. It allows the physician to perform the surgery in a virtual environment before they ever touch the patient. With those two already online, we're now becoming the pinnacle of robotic minimally invasive surgery for Southern California. There's only 7 hospitals in the country that have the Mazor Renaissance, only 1 in California, and that's UCI, the University Hospital at Irvine.